Hello. So we've started the session. I have asked you to do an activity. Naintindihan niyo ba to? Nagets ba? I'm actually giving you time to do it right now. So I'm sorry if I'm doing a lot of fidgeting on the PC right now. Zoom updated and the new update is kind of annoying. I can't see the uh, meeting controls. So nakapag-draw na ba kayo? Have you finished drawing what you think is your role in impact management? Doesn't have to be anything complicated, all right? Just just something simple, something that you can easily explain. Who's done and who wants to share? So I'll give you the screen, and you don't have to share it on the screen, but at least show your video, show the picture through your video, and then talk about it. All right. Hi, Kit. That was the first activity. We just started. We haven't yet started with the session proper. What you have to do is take a piece of paper or anything you can draw, and it could be your iPad, and then draw what you think is your role in impact management, or specifically in your startup, and how you create an impact. Okay. So is everyone done? So I can, para may, you guys can share, since there's only a few of you. I'm pretty sure all of you can share. So let's start with, sino ba nandito sa first ko? Checkmate. Checkmate. Ted or Ed or Lord.
Hello.
Hello. All right. Can you please share what your role is in impact management? Share your drawing. Okay, so talk to us about it. Okay lang, kumayaw.
Ang akong so what we have collaborated with the team is like this. I don't think it everybody can see. It represents the education sector that, as we all know, not all educators is really relying into technology nowadays since nag-start yung COVID, so everything now is converting into technology. So as our impact, we are trying to do you call this um, we act as a collaborator between the student, teachers, and the parents, with the ease of the access of the technologies to improve the learning and teaching.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Ted, for that. All right. Good job. So let's hear from Dirtbag next. Team Dirtbag.
Hi, good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so I draw to the best of my ability a light bulb. So light bulb represents thinking, thoughts, and everything. So as a service provider, we are thinking on what impact when we provide to our customers, and then when they react, we also think of the next. How they react. So we will think of another solutions or to their problems or to whatever they want to improve with our services. So that's it. Light bulb.
Right. Okay. Good job on that. Thank you, Dirtbag. Next team. All right. Hope. Hope, are you there?
Hello, ma'am.
Hello. Okay. So please share to us your illustration on your role on impact management.
So, good morning, everyone.
Okay.
The role of Piso hand sanitizer dispenser or our startup is simply to make hand washing or basic practice of hygienic hand washing through our dispenser accessible. So from bulk na medyo baka di ma-afford, then we have the Piso hand sanitizer dispenser that can give you that immediate and quick hand sanitizing to your hands, ma'am. So yun lang.
All right. Thank you, Hope. Good job on that. All right. Next team. Okay. I hope. Okay, let's go to Shift Tech. Jiraisa.
Hi, ma'am.
Hello.
Um, so
Hello, Jiraisa. All right. I think Jiraisa is going through some technical difficulties as well. Okay. So for let's head on first. Ano na lang muna kang ihatid. All right. So ihatid.
So nag-send na lang ko sa sa chat o image. It's the image of an ear. So because we are
Okay.
very service oriented and most of the time we ang solutions namo kanang mas heavily rely on what is needed sa market. So even sometimes we know already what we what we want to do, but it turns out nga ang market response is lahi pod. So we have to listen. In terms sa team, I am trying to practice better listening skills. Kay a lot of team members have better ideas. So sometimes it's a struggle, but that's what I, as a member sa team, that's what I'm trying to do.
All right, thank you, Kit. Good job on that. Good job, ihatid. So, Jeraisa, are you back? You can, just share. If you're having difficulties with your mic, you can share it in the chat group. All right, that way I can just relay it.
Okay, ma'am, this is Kent Katuran representing.
Okay, all right.
So
Shifted?
our representation is all about a cat. Our representation as a pet. So we want to focus on the animal community, helping the connection between animal and human, making sure that all living things, especially pets, are well taken care of. That's all, ma'am.
All right, thank you. Good job. So, is J Create around? J Create? Okay, so, sino pa ba? Sino pa ba hindi ko natawag? Wait lang. Medcon, are you around? Okay. So I think they're not around yet. But I hope you'd be able to do this even though you weren't able to present today. So let's go back. So let's start our ano na, ano tawag dito? Session proper. Okay. Hey, God. Share. Okay. So now that you've done that, this is a good start because at least your brain is now prepared or hardwired to think about impact. Okay, so the impact, so sustainable development goals, so ready na. So no warm up na kayo. So there's a quote by Anita Roddick that goes, "If you think you are too small to have an impact, try going to bed with a mosquito." So ganun kalaki ang impact kahit malit lang yung role mo, all right? So Anita Roddick, who was the founder of the internationally respected and successful corporation, The Body Shop, put her money not only where her mouth was, but where her heart was. She refused to sell or buy products that exploit the world and its inhabitants. She had set a higher standard for business around the world to achieve. So Roddick stressed that the power of public pressure to create change should never be underestimated. Okay, so let's head on to what I mean by medyo mabigat to. Okay. So when I underwent the impact management workshop as a trainer, it took us several days to do this. Okay, so ngayon, ang ina-apply ko sa inyo is the simplified one because since this is an introduction to SDG, and impact management ba to? Measurement and impact management, we want to make sure that you're able to understand impact, and then you can incorporate that your startup as well as to your pitch, okay? Because it makes your pitch better and it makes things clearer for you kung ano yung mission nyo, kung ano yung goal talaga ninyo. Because I'm pretty sure, yes, bottom line, your goal is to make profit, make money because you're a business. Hindi pwedeng wala yan because you cannot be a startup if you are not making money. Okay. So the other thing is you're clearly creating an impact. Okay. So what is impact? So according to Impact Management Project and OECD, impact is a change in positive or negative outcome for people or the planet. Impact is a change in an outcome caused by an organization or, of course, you, the startup. Positive and negative impact, primary and secondary long-term effects produced by a development intervention can be directly or indirectly intended or unintended. Okay. So now you're thinking, why is impact important? So impact is the benefit of research to society outside of academia. So research contributes to the world in many ways. It improves our health and well-being, creates economic prosperity, enhances our cultural lives, and improves environmental sustainability, to name just a few. So similarly, every one of us affects each other in our lives on a daily basis, sometimes for better and sometimes for worse. But very few people truly make an impact on others. People who merely affect us can be forgotten as their influence is passing and impermanent. People who impact us, people like you, startups who make impact, however, are memorable and significant to personal growth. All right, it could be or to any growth actually. So think of Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg, Elon Musk. Okay, they're all disruptive entrepreneurs who have created an impact, okay? May it be negative or positive. So therefore, you can choose to positively affect those around you uh, through your startup or negatively affect those around you again through your startup. That means you can decide to positively or negatively impact. But of course, as leaders in the startup community, as our startup ecosystem, as startups, please choose to not only make a positive effect, but to raise the game and invest efforts in making a lasting impact that ripples beyond the surface. So let's be intentional about altering the trajectory of others in a positive way for long-term benefit as well. Okay. So next slide. So here is the approach to impact management. So this is what we're going to do. So as you can see here, first step, this is mostly or mainly, yeah, what we're going to do today, assessing capacity, all right? Planning and design, nasa sa inyo na yan, monitoring impact, analyzing data and reporting. That's the next three steps are how you implement it, all right? And actually, this can take a while. So what we're going to do is you're going to assess the capacity and then you apply it to your startup. So first, we have to understand your contribution to sustainable development goals. So how do you do that? You plan by measuring impact and design your impact framework. That's if you read your email, I sent you a framework which we will be using for the workshop later on. So you integrate those SDGs that are aligned with your startup, okay, in your impact value chain. And then after that, we measured, not exactly after that, we also then measure the impact by defining key decision-making questions and indicators, right? So you identify the existing data gaps. We will explain natin yan mamaya, it has to be accurate and everything. So you also have to collect relevant data that would be beneficial to your business as well as your stakeholders. So remember that as a startup, you also have stakeholders. Imposibleng wala yan. When you did your BMC, I'm pretty sure you already pinpointed what or who those are. Okay, so lastly, through assessing capacity, you analyze data and communicate this impact that you've identified to your stakeholders. So you use this impact data as well as feedback loop for making decisions. Okay, so to make things clear, to put you in a straighter path. Okay, so daan na matuwid. Okay, so you can see here, we've already discussed what impact is. So these are the 5 dimensions of, impact. Everything we do has impacts on people and the planet. To understand any impact, we need to understand the 5 dimensions of performance. So these are the 5 dimensions of performance, all right? What tells us what outcome the enterprise or your startup is contributing to, whether it is positive or negative, and how important the outcome is to stakeholders. So who tells us which stakeholders are experiencing the outcome and how undeserved they are in relation to the outcome. How much tells us how many stakeholders experience the outcome, what degree of change they experience, and how long they experience the outcome for. Contribution naman is it tells us whether an enterprise's or an investor's efforts resulted in outcomes that were likely better than what would have occurred otherwise. And lastly, risk tells you the likelihood that impact will be different than expected. So at least naintindihan nyo to, what, who, how much, contribution, and risk. Okay. Next one, aligning mission. So this one, I kind of find this fun. Okay. So I know all of you have already construed your mission vision. Of course, syempre kasi you submitted your mini business plan. So nandun yun. Okay. So here we are going to polish that. Okay. So setting goals, mission aligned, we are going to turn your mission statement, especially the long paragraphs one, into 8 words mission statement. So if you have any access to your mission statement right now, you can, I would encourage you to have it with you right now. And then while we're doing this, it's not part of the workshop, but at least while we're doing it, you can, you can tweak it now while we're doing this session. So we're going to do a 8-word mission statement. So you have to set mission aligned goals to avoid mission drift. So what do you mean by mission drift? As the term indicates, it is basically what happens when your startup starts to move away from the goal or the goals you outlined in the mission statement. So there are several ways, 4 actually, to avoid mission drift through mostly a strategic marketing plan. Okay, so first you focus on the what, not on the how. This is aligning your goals, your marketing goals with your business goals. All right, so number 2, you include concrete results. You develop key messages for different stakeholders that produces concrete results. All right. Number 3, you tackle the problem your mission describes. So you create that by creating tactics that will serve your mission statement. And lastly, you have to involve your stakeholders because this will allow you to measure results of your impact as well. So you're wondering why 8 words, okay? It just seems to work. Believe it or not, investors, especially ones who are driven by impact, does not want to see big words or flowery ones. Imagine you have, di ba alam nyo na, pitching has, when you join a pitching competition, you only have 3 minutes to pitch. And imagine going through your mission statement, and it's very long. Okay, so big words or flowery ones: empowerment, capacity building, and sustainability. They've heard that countless times. So, but what they really want to hear from you, what they want to know is what exactly you're trying to accomplish with your startup. And you can do that with only 8 words, okay? A mission statement that includes 8 words. All they need to see is that your mission is clear. So it's long enough to be specific and short enough to force clarity. So nakikita nyo naman yung mga examples dyan sa screen. It is what it is. Rehabilitate coral reefs in the Western Pacific. Yun yun. Yun na yung 8-word mission statement nila. Prevent maternal child transmission of HIV in Africa. Ganyan kasimple. Okay? So these statements tell investors exactly what your startup has set to accomplish. Okay? So once they've got it, they've heard your 8-word mission statement, which is clear and on point, they will know whether you are working on something that fits or aligns with their own mission. Okay. So according to Stanford Innovation Review, the 8-word mission is a crucial tool for funding decisions. So this is why you have to involve all of your stakeholders, okay? It also turns out that it is a great tool for design. So you have to know where you're going to be able to figure out the best way to get there. A good 8-word mission helps you to evolve your big idea without getting pulled off track. Like I said earlier, being anong tawag dun? Nakalimutan ko yung term. Kasi sabi ko lang, nakalimutan ko na. Okay, great. So basta yun. Drifting from your from your business model. So the demands of the funders or the latest shiny object they found by the side of the road. So for more established startups, what they do is they guide through a necessary iterative process of redesign, helping them strip the hull of all the barnacles and unnecessary obstacles that have accreted their journey so far. So ang sa inyo, since you're still in the incubation program, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to tweak your mission statement and then make sure that it aligns with your goal. Okay, so make it clearer. Doon muna tayo mag-umpisa. So ultimately, the 8-word mission statement is indispensable as a starting point for real measurement of impact. You can't measure impact unless you know what you're setting out to accomplish. Getting your mission right is step 1 in getting your indicators right. With a good 8-word mission, you can bypass all that input, output, outcome stuff and cut to the chase with a simple question of how would I best know if I'm fulfilling my mission? Okay? Ganun yun. So, that brings us, now that we've talked about what impact measurement is, impact management, impact as a whole, that brings us to the Sustainable Development Goals, which will be your basis to indicate or to measure the impact you're creating. So the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, as you can see on the screen, is adopted by all United Nations member states in 2015. It provides a shared blueprint, which is this, for peace and prosperity for people and the planet now and into the future. So it's called 2030 Agenda because dapat ma-fulfill yung sustainable good, hindi man sa dapat, pero they're optimistic that ma-fulfill yung sustainable development goals by 2030. Alright, so probably by 2030, we'll get another new set of SDGs. Okay, so baka doon mag-focus na sa health because of the pandemic. So anyway, at its heart are these 17 Sustainable Development Goals, which are an urgent call for action by all countries, developed and developing, in a global partnership. Okay, so they recognize that ending poverty and other deprivations that must go hand in hand with strategies that improve health and education, reduce inequality, and spur economic growth while tackling climate change and working to preserve our oceans and forests. So here is an example, Dion, of the SDG targets. So SDG, this 17 ones, the Sustainable Development Goals, and the targets or the indicators. If you read, I mean, I'm not expecting you to read something that long, kasi when it comes to international law or United Nations, talagang mahaba yung mga documents nila. Okay, so the PDF I gave you, if you at least ran through it, those are the targets. Okay, so targets or SDG targets are the sub-specific goals within each SDG. Okay, these targets or global indicators complement with the framework that the regional and the national levels will apply. Okay, so use SDG. It's how you assess if you're actually aligned with the correct or accurate SDG. Okay, for example, ito. I'm pretty sure na pag-isipan nyo na, kunwari, baka nandun kayo sa industry or innovation and infrastructure, or nandun kayo sa no poverty, or nandun kayo sa quality education. Pero hindi yun ganun eh. Hindi yun basta-basta. So with the PDF I gave you, that includes all the targets. It's a very wordy. Doon nyo ma-realize if your goal is accurately aligned with those with the SDG you chose, okay, that you believe is aligned to your startup's mission and goal. So as you can see, goals need to be linked to an SDG target. So for example, ito, ang goal ng factory tuloy ng startup is to ensure that migrant factory workers have access to dignified and affordable housing. So anong nangyari? Dalawang SDG yung nakikita nila. Make cities and human settlements inclusive, safe, resilient, and sustainable. Number 11. Or number 8, promote sustained, inclusive, and sustainable economic growth, full and productive employment, and decent work for all. So they pick those, okay? Assuming that in general sense that it aligns with their mission statement, as you can see on the screen. But when they go through the targets, the indicators, they realize hindi aligned yung 8 sa kanila because the targets are very specific. Hindi pwedeng hindi pwedeng vague siya, okay? It's really specific. So one day when it went through number 11, SDG 11, it realized that it is the most accurate SDG aligned to their mission. Okay, so this is the impact they're creating. By 2030, they're ensuring access for all, adequate, safe, and affordable housing and basic services and upgrade slums. Okay, so ganito yung gagawin yung later, but it gets more complicated because nasabi kong mabigat kasi you have a lot of thinking to do. Okay. Kahit kami yung mga trainers, it really was a huge toll on our brains kasi brain racking talaga siya. So, why do investors look for impact measurement? Impact measurement is not only integral for making effective impact investments, but it is a unique opportunity for all impact investing stakeholders, okay? These stakeholders include investors, investees, intermediaries, and even the government. So as you can see on the screen, these are the reasons why investors look for impact. Again, believe it or not, investors will usually look for the impact you're making. Because if you're not making an impact, even though you're making a profit, hindi sila masyadong na-attract sa ganyan. So if you make an impact and you also make profit, that's a huge go signal for them that they would want to invest in you. So as you can see on the screen, these are the reasons, again, why the investors look for impact. So social accountability here, they want to know that their investments are contributing to influence positive change. Okay, so take note, positive dapat, positive change. No investor, I mean, siguro meron naman, no? Unfortunately, there will be an investor who will invest on, and I think they're investing with a positive change, but creating a negative impact, may mga ganyan. But importante social accountability is that when they invest, they know that they are contributing to influence positive change. So, and then due diligence. You as a startup must have the ability to balance dual purposes of financial return and social impact, and enable prioritization of resources to create intended impact as impact is quantified. All right. Next, you get to improve the program. It improves the program because there's an ability to measure performance against the agreed benchmarks. And then lastly, tracking the strategy provides clarity and transparency by setting numerical targets to benchmark performance. So these are why the investors look for impact measurement. For investors, impact measurement serves to facilitate understanding, accountability, and value creation. So impact measurement is a powerful way for investors to assess the intended impact of prospective opportunities as well as the ongoing impact of their investment portfolios. Okay, so by understanding the extent to which their investments can achieve or have achieved social and environmental goals, investors can hold themselves accountable and allocate their sources accordingly. Okay, so you heard me talking about indicators earlier. So indicators are tools used to measure progress of a program, progress by defining its characteristics or variables, and then tracking changes in those characteristics over time or between groups. So as you can see here on the screen, the SMART framework is a basis for clear indicators, okay? It is needed to have an effective monitoring and evaluation system. The SMART framework is a useful way to identify quality indicators, all right? So it stands for specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, time-framed, okay? It's not one word, okay? I mean one phrase. Okay. So the first criterion, specific, means that the indicator needs to be narrow and accurately describe what needs to be measured. Okay. Measurable means that regardless of who uses the indicator, it would be measured in the same way. Attainable or can be interchanged with achievable means that collecting the data should be straightforward and cost-effective, okay? Relevant requires that the indicator be closely linked to the relevant outcome. Finally, time-framed or time-bound means that there should be a time frame linked to the indicator, such as the frequency with which it is collected or measured. Indicators are an essential part of quantifying your impact and conducting effective monitoring and evaluation. So how do you identify if you're doing, I'm not exactly doing, okay, pwede. Yeah, you're creating or identifying a good indicator from a bad one. So on the screen are examples of good indicators. So a good indicator is valid, reliable, and precise. Okay? It should be an accurate measure of a behavior, practice, and or task that is expected, that is the expected outcome or output. Okay? It should be consistently measurable over time in the same way by different observers. Of course, it must be operationally defined in clear terms. Okay, sorry. Okay, in clear terms. So here are the three common misconceptions in selecting indicators. The first one, this set, which tackles about number of children, is a bad indicator is aggregating different indicators into one. So the wrong one is when the number of children attending school, practicing good hygiene, and undernourished. Okay, so that's a bad indicator. Instead, as you can see on the screen, you separate them because they're all different indicators. So you have to be specific. Iba yung number of children attending school. Iba yung number of children practicing good hygiene. And iba rin yung number of children currently undernourished. Okay? So you cannot put that into just one indicator. It has to be separate and specific. Okay. So second one, confusing outcomes with indicators. Okay. So instead of saying increase in smallholders farmers income, you say change in smallholder farmers income. Okay. Why? Because what you're trying to do here is you make sure that there is a change. If sinabi yung increase, outcome yon. It is not an indicator. Okay, so anong tawag dito? I forgot the term. Iniisip nyo na yun yung mangyayari. But no, ang importante, there will be a change in smallholder farmers' income. So it may be an increase or a decrease, but hopefully it will be an increase. Okay, it can also be something else, basta a change in the farmer's income. Lastly, subjective and immeasurable indicators are bad indicators. So instead of saying satisfaction of your clients, okay, ganun lang. Pag tinanong, so what is your goal? One of our goals is the satisfaction of our clients. So that's a bad indicator, all right? So it's very vague, okay? Instead of saying that, you say, as you can see on the screen, our goal is the number of clients reporting to be satisfied with our service. So it is precise, it is valid, ano pa? It is specific, okay? Specific, kasi clients reporting, okay? Measurable, because you are asking for the number of clients, and then attainable, relevant, and time frame siya because it is within the satisfaction of your service. So ganyan yung gagawin natin later on. So don't worry, don't stress about it. You'll be you'll be presenting that online then later on, and then we'll tackle it one by one. So don't worry about it. So here are examples of good indicators that are specifically sector indicators. So as you can see, as the employment sector, very, very smart siya, okay? It as a good indicator because it is precise, it is measurable, specific, okay? Number of clients employed in the job market, within 6 months. Okay, so ganun yung mga indicator na ini-indicate nila. Okay, so these are examples. Another set of examples are this one. So now combining how or what you understood about a good indicator and the examples given in the slide, earlier slide that showed sector indicators, will apply that to the SDGs. So ito siya, decent work and economic growth. Number of examples is number of full-time employees that departed the organization, number of low-income people employed. So again, it is SMART. So before we head on to the workshop proper mismo, these are something that you should also take note of, especially when you're doing pitches. So putting numbers into words is more effective than being vague. So instead of saying because of our operations, a lot of Filipino rice farmers have a better livelihood. You say because of our operations, 35,000 Filipino rice farmers have experienced 30% increase in their income. That is not exactly the correct way, but the most effective way to give your make your pitch more effective. Okay, so effective na. Basta, it makes your pitch better. Imagine if you're pitching and the judge hears that. A lot of Filipino rice farmers have better livelihood. And then most likely than not, the judge will ask you, so how lot of Filipino rice farmers are we talking about there? So instead of wasting time on this, explaining kung gaano karami, you put it out there immediately because it gives a better perspective. It makes it more clearer for the judges, and it gives you a better image. Okay, not exactly an image ninyo. Okay, because it shows that you research thoroughly, okay, about your startups, about what your goals are. So this is a good thing. So again, take note, putting numbers into words is very important. So I hope you can do that. In your pitches, you can tweak that, your pitch deck. I'm pretty sure may makikita kayo. Sabihin nyo, gaano karami kaya to, mga ganyan. Okay. So another one is subjective versus objective claims. So unfortunately, what I'm going to be telling you all about is what exactly is in the screen. So subjective and objective. So as much as possible, you have to be objective, okay? As in line with the previous slide on putting numbers into words, you have to be objective. Why? Because being objective is independent from the particularities of a specific instant or individual. It is a statement about a factual matter. So it is facts. You also recognize criteria and methods for that. So you can differentiate the subjective claim from an objective claim on the example given in the screen. All right. So the subjective one is, since the start of our operations, our farmers have better livelihoods. So subjective because conditional expression of opinion mo yan. There is no facts. Okay. So it is, if there is no facts, no numbers, it is you have no other data that supports what your claims, then most likely it is an opinion, belief, or a personal preference. So instead of saying that, you say, since the start of our operations, our farmers have an average experience an increase of 30% in their incomes. Okay, so it is more possible to compare dimensions with this, and it is more believable when you say increase of 30% in their incomes than saying better livelihoods. Kasi pag sinabi mong better livelihoods, marami yan. Okay? Hindi lang incomes ang scope niyan. So when you say experience an increase of 30% in their incomes, it is aligned with the goal of the startup, it is specific, it is measurable, and it is factual. Okay? Independent of specific instance or particularities of a specific instance or individual. Okay, now, so we head on to the workshop proper. So I hope you were able to download this. Okay. If hindi nyo na-download, you can screenshot it here or just create a chart there on what you can write on, okay? Piece of paper, an iPad, or even on a computer. All right. Importante you create this because this is one of your milestones for Firestarter. This is actually your first one. So ang goal talaga namin sa session na to is to make your pitches better, align impact that are relevant to your startup, okay? And then give you a clearer view of what you're creating, okay? What your goals are. So before we head on to that, so theory of change is essentially a comprehensive description and illustration of how and why a desired change is expected to happen in a particular context. So I'm not gonna delve into that because this is very, very complicated. Okay? Mabigat sa utak tong theory of change na to. Basta ang punot dulo niyan is that we create an impact value chain, which is this one, okay? The impact value chain, which you will be using in order to polish, to make your pitches better, okay? And your startup, of course, okay? Especially your mission statement and your goals. So moving forward from the theory of change, we create an impact value chain. So the impact value chain is a tool that illustrates how the venture's activities lead to the venture's ultimate desired outcome and impact. So, para siyang timeline. Para lang, okay? Okay, so the impact value chain builds on your theory of change by articulating the relationship between the ventures, activities, outputs, outcomes, and impacts. So first, we have the problem or the constraints and our needs. Ang sinasagot dito, ang tanong dito is, you have to answer the question, what is the problem you are trying to solve? Again, you have to be specific about this, okay? Hindi pwede yung aggregated, okay, yung indicators nyo. So what is the problem you are trying to solve? Activities. You have to answer the question, what are the current actions? Current, okay? What are your present actions your startup is undertaking to solve the problem or the problems? Outputs, these are actually short-term goals. Tama ba? Basta ito yung usually short-term goals. What are the key deliverables and measurable effects of your work? Outcomes, ito naman yung mid-term goals. So something between short and long-term goals. What are the short to medium-term changes you expect to see? And the end goal is actually answering the questions, what is the long-term change or impact you see as your goal, and what will the world look like if you're achieving your mission? So usually, ang nakalagay sa end goal, it is connected to the SDG that you will choose, all right? And the indicator that SDG that you will choose and align, that you make sure that is aligned your goal and your startup by checking out the indicators. Okay. So here is the example of an exercise of an impact value chain. So I'll show this to you again later, but I'll give you a more hands-on example. So this one was created by one of our incubatees in our previous batch. Is request. So is request, ay tama ba? Is request na pala sila kayo. Is request is a tech app that enables you to, ano yung tamang word dyan? Yung magpa-process, hihingi kayo ng copy ng barangay clearances or any other official documents that you can get from your barangay. Okay, so ito yung mga in-identify nila na constraints and needs nila. So let's just go through the first example. So their first problem was slow processing of documents recorded from the barangay. So as you can see, it is specific, but not specific enough. Okay, so we discussed this. So during the session, so there will be no corrections written here. So ang mali lang niya, ay hindi mas mali, ang kulang niya dito is they did not specify which document that are being requested from the barangay or who requests it. Ang nilagay lang nila is slow processing of documents requested from the barangay. So we can start from there. That's the problem. So their specific activities is that they created each request for faster processing of documents. And then for their immediate result, which is the output, it created the free process. Requesting of documents became easier and hassle-free. Okay, it became an easier, hassle-free process. That was their immediate result. For their outcome, which is the short-term and medium-term, there is an increase of productivity, so staff and residents, improved system of processing documents. They were able to create a process from manual, transferring it to digital through the mobile app. They also improve the services to the residents. So their long term, which is the impact, the end goal is the SDG. If you can see the number here, 8.5, hindi yan score. Yan yung indicator na kinuha na they painstakingly read through the PDF that I sent you. So ito yung napili nila, by 2030, achieve full and productive employment and decent work for all the women and men, including for young people and persons with disabilities, equal pay for work and equal value. So this was actually mas mabang discussion to because as you can see, yung indicator na kinuha nila is not actually aligned with what their constraints and needs are. Because ang nakalagay dito, ang indicator ng 8.5 is employment and decent work for women and men, including young people and persons with disabilities, equal pay for work and equal value. And none of those are indicated in their constraints and needs, nor sa kanilang inputs or activities, outputs, or outcomes. So that's why they have, they're actually supposed to choose one lang, pero we discussed why it was supposed to be 1.2 or 1.3, 8.6. We'll go through that, okay? So this is what you're going to do for your workshop. Now, okay, so baka mamaya, while you're going through the SDG, you think, you might think that there is not an indicator, an SDG that works with your startup. It's all right, okay? You can still apply this, okay? Because using going through this impact management workshop, as I said earlier, gets you to make your goals clearer, okay? Your mission statement polished, okay? And at least you would realize the impact of your startup, okay? So now that we've tackled those, I hope sabi ko sa inyo medyo mabigat, guys. Let's do the workshop. So it's already 8:15. Sorry. Okay. It's already 8:15. So I'll give you 15 minutes to do this, the exercise. Sorry. Nawala pala yung share screen ko. Where is it? Sorry. Okay. So I'll give you 15 minutes until 11:30 to do the exercise. Create your impact value chain. Okay? So I'll leave you to this, and if you have any questions, feel free to unmute yourself and ask away, okay? I'll also leave you with the screen on the examples, okay? Para hindi kayo mahirapan. So remember to apply what we discussed earlier. It has to be specific, measurable, factual, and then make sure that when you choose an SDG, like as yung dito sa gilid, you have to go through the indicators muna. So kung binuksan niyo yung PDF, pupunta kayo kanari sa no poverty, iisa-isayin niyo yan. Okay, marami yan, pero iisa-isayin niyo kasi you have to make sure that it aligns with your startup's mission as well as your goal. Okay, so I'll leave you to it. 15 minutes. Hindi pala 11:30. 11:35 because you still have to discuss this. Okay. So you can start doing it, and then I'll get back to you and check on you in 15 minutes. Okay, guys? So, guys, anybody up for it? Come on, so we can at least talk about your impact value chain.
Hello, ma'am. Ako, ma'am.
Okay.
I'd like to try.
Okay, go. Okay, you share your screen.
Okay, so as you can see, this is my impact value chain first draft on the constraints and needs for the b.i.t.e.s hand sanitizer dispenser. Initially, what I have really reflected on is the limited access to affordable hand sanitizing solution or washing stations. And also the second part is in spite of the or prior to the pandemic, we really have this apathy towards hand sanitization, ma'am, or we rarely use or wash our hands. Not until pandemic came that we have become very sensitive to germs. So for inputs and activities is for our startup to consign the units to public drawn areas such as malls, parks, and wet markets, hospitals. and also provide social media campaigns on the adverse effects of communicable diseases or germs-induced illnesses that can be acquired uh, without acquired when we are not properly hand sanitizing. So our outputs is expected output is to for the general public to access immediate and affordable hand sanitizing protection through our dispenser, and also improve hygienic literacy on hand sanitization and hand washing. On the second part, ma'am, I think we could provide more aesthetics on our dispenser so that it will really create parang or really grab the attention of the general public so that they will really be drawn to it in the practice of hand sanitizing. So our expected outcomes, there will be improved protection against germs and viruses in the public areas. And as a result, it will make public areas safer for those who weren't able to bring a an alcohol or don't have time to wash their hands. And also, more importantly, is the lifestyle of proper hand washing or hand sanitizing. So upon reading the SDGs, initially the piece hand sanitizer, not really 100%, ma'am, but I think it's SDG 3, wherein we're combating communicable diseases, providing access to healthcare services, and reduce illnesses from hazardous chemicals. And also SDG 11, wherein it talks about sustainable urbanization, knowing that few years from now, people really flock into the cities. So it's expected that, I mean, more activities that will happen. So it would be very timely that there will be access to this type of protection. And also SDG 12, that is responsible consumption, I think. With our dispenser units, ma'am, I believe people can, instead of buying new, they can just simply have refill their empty alcohol bottles or any container so that for their hand sanitization. So that's it, ma'am. Thank you for listening.
All right. Okay. So actually, good job on this, especially on the first anong tawag dito? Constraint. So you were able to give a specific problem. There is limited access to affordable hand sanitizing solutions or washing stations. So may kulang pa dito. So you can actually, it would be better if you can give specifically where is the limited access. Asan yung problema? Limited access to asa dapit? Asa banda pa, I mean, region ba? Or who has limited access to that? Ganun ka-specific, right? And then, okay, so okay na yung inputs and activities mo. Okay, and then for the outputs, you actually mentioned it, but it would be better if ninagay mo na din dyan, access to immediate and affordable hand sanitizing protection through ano yan? Through our
Dispensing unit.
Dispensing unit. Ganon ka-specific. So I'm actually trying to check pa the SDG. Ang bagal ng internet ko sa office. So, pero sige lang. I can still tweak this if I can check the indicators later on. So as for the second one, I think it's hard to prove that the problem is apathy because it's very vague. Okay, so hindi siya, sino apathetic? Okay, so hindi mo alam. You do not have facts on that. Nasa sa'yo lang is
assumption lang to, ma'am.
Assumption, yes. So pagkaintindi mo, there is a apathy on the importance of proper hand sanitation. So this would be a good indicator if you are able to give facts, like we discussed earlier, that 30% of Filipinos are apathetic. Okay. Especially in Cagayan, 30% of Filipinos residing in Cagayan de Oro are apathetic on the importance of proper hand sanitation. Ganon, kung ganon mo maibigay yung problem mo, mas maigi. Because at least, hindi vague, hindi broad yung problem mo. Because when you say apathy, you can be, even though this is SDG, this is global, ang hirap if you're still starting out and then your goal is already on a global scale. Okay? When you're starting out, dapat you start small. Okay? That's how you venture into expansion then. So provide social media campaigns of communicable diseases or germs-induced illnesses. Again, to be specific on saan and kanino mo ipoprovide yung social media campaigns. Okay? So improve hygienic literacy on hand sanitization, washing, all right? Lifestyle on proper hand washing. So, what do you mean by lifestyle? Ganun lang. It has to be, you have to indicate anong mangyayari dun sa lifestyle on proper hand washing or sanitizing. So, you have to say there is a change or improvement in the lifestyle on proper hand washing or hand sanitizing, on the specific demographic that you are set, especially your startup is set into, yung market nyo, ganun. Okay. So parang hindi, unfortunately, parang hindi aligned ang reduction of plastic waste, I think.
Kasi ma'am, there is a functionality sa dispenser, ma'am, wherein it could serve as a refilling station.
Oh, okay. So since you indicated reduction of plastic waste, dapat may sali mo yan sa outputs mo yan at saka outcomes mo, pati dun sa results mo. How to, hindi lang lifestyle on proper hand washing or hand sanitizing, but on how to reduce plastic waste. Ganyan. So remember that even though nasa last part yung impact or the end goal, you must be able to reflect it with the constraints and needs and the activities and the goals that you have. Kasi hindi pwedeng hindi consistent yan. It can never happen na iba yung goal nyo and then iba rin yung journey nyo, okay? So that means if magkaiba yung goal nyo at saka yung journey nyo, then it means that hindi nyo na-attain yung goal nyo, okay? Kasi nag-detour kayo. So with this impact value chain, like I said earlier, I'm emphasizing it, it makes your goal clearer, especially your mission statement, okay? Para alam nyo kung saan talaga kayo dapat mag-focus and the type of impact you're making. Okay. So if you do not want to venture into SDG 12 or the reduction of plastic waste, it's okay. As hindi naman kailangan na marami kayong end goals, no? At least one would do. It would also be better if you have one then, since you're starting out pa, because at least yun lang muna yung pinafocus nyo. Okay? So you can still add along the way. But right now, it might be handful for you if you're already trying to make sure that to solve the problem on limited access to affordable hand sanitizing solutions or washing stations to a specific area, to a specific people, and then you still have to address the problem of apathy, diba? So it's probably too much, but it's good that you're able to point that out right now. So maybe I'm suggesting that you focus first on what you can do right now, and then you can add the other SDG when you think you can actually do it now. But if you can do it, I'm not saying that you should delete it, okay? pwede mong, if you want, you can still keep it, okay? As long as it aligns with your goals and magagawa nyo talaga to. Okay? Kasi, di ba nga, the lesser goal you have, the fewer paths you have to go to. Okay? So, hope, please submit, ang tawag dito, an edited version later on to cdo_b.i.t.e.s cdo_b.i.t.e.s@usdp.edu.ph. I'll give you guys the subject of the message later on here in the chat box, so I can check it and tweak it again. And then, aside from your impact value chain, please include as well your improved mission statement. Okay, make it into an 8-word statement, mission statement. Kasi i-base niyo yun sa mission vision na nilagay niyo sa mini business plan nyo. Okay? Para gumanda lalo yung pitch nyo, pati yung goal ng startup nyo. Okay, thank you, Hope, for this one. Good job. Okay. Next, one more presenter. So at least you now guys have an idea on how you're supposed to create an impact value chain. I mean, it's normal to think or general, make assumptions, mga ganyan, but this is the point of the workshop, to point out, to make sure that you get it not exactly right, but you find a way to pinpoint your goals specifically. Okay. So next, one more. Who wants to volunteer and show their work? Anyone? Guys, nahihirapan ba kayo? Sabi ko sa inyo, mabigat to eh. But again, it is beneficial for your startup, and it will make a better impression to investors when you can identify. I mean, you are able to identify the impact you are making. Okay. So you just don't, tama nga naman yung sinasabi niyo sa mga pitch deck nyo nung nagpipitch pa kayo sa Spark Track, na like Dirtbag, he says, na they say, I mean, their startup is to give people an access to laundry services without having the inconvenience of going out of their home, especially in this pandemic. Now, with this impact value chain and impact management workshop, you can make that more. You can make it better, okay, by giving specific numbers, okay, facts, details, and then pointing out which sustainable development goal or impact that you are making. Okay. So can we have another someone else?
Maybe we could try.
All right, so go checkmate. Okay. Okay, you may start anytime you want.
Oh, I was muted. Sorry, ma'am. So, hello everyone. I'm Christian Ted from Checkmate. So, here is our impact value chain. So, first, for our constraint is teacher is not adapting to current technology, because as we observed in our previous validation, teachers really don't rely on technology as of the moment. They rely on the kung ano talaga yung what do you call this, yung talagang ginagawa noon pa. So they stick on that thing. So if we introduce some things like about like technology and how to use it, in behalf on their teaching. They still they are not. It is not easy for them to adapt to it. And then for the second is online teaching tools are expensive. So as this pandemic arrived, teachers already have technologies that they've been using, but they keep on saying to us that the technology that they've been using is really expensive for them to use. And then conducting and for the third concern in needs is conducting and checking of examination requires a lot of time. So this is really the constraint that our startup really trying to solve on the checking of examinations in this in for the teachers. So for our inputs, we are going to create a virtual examination tool for educators and students as an improvement for our product. We are trying to implement a virtual examination tool because as what we have in the previous product that we have, test paper is the usual way of conducting exam face to face. So the student have a test paper that he or she is going to shade. So the teacher is just going to check the test paper using our phone. So for our improvement, we want to create a virtual examination tool that requires just the mobile phone of the students and the teacher will just create an exam and automatically the student will answer it through their phone. So and the second is create an online class record that shows student result per quiz. So in behalf with that, the student can automatically see their scores of that exam. Then for our outputs, we're going to provide a hassle-free electronic multiple choice exam checker for educators. This is what we have in our previous product, the manual checking or the automated checking using the paper provided by the educators. The second is provide an electronic grading system with item analysis. With this one, this is also one of the key features that we are going to give it our product as teachers really doing hard time in making this item analysis part on their in behalf of them because there are a lot of students that they need to be checked and this is also part of the requirements and submitting their requirements to the DepEd. So and the last one is provide an easy use multiple choice examination tool generation tool. So with our we're going to provide it using a website and a mobile, which is a cross-platform system for them. So for our outcome is the increase of productivity of of students and educators. And the second one is the improvement of the system by giving virtual examinations to students. So this is what we are trying to solve right now, the virtual examination for students. So for our impact, ma'am, is we are not sure about uh, the targets because as what we have read in the education, alam namin na napasok kami dun sa education sector, which is this one, the number 4, uh, to ensure exclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. We know that we are giving opportunities for the teacher and students, but in behalf of the targets, we don't see any what do you call this? What you call swak na target for us. So maybe we could use this 4.A build and upgrade education facilities that are child disability and gender sensitive and provide safe, non-violent, exclusive, and effective learning environment for all. We just think na we can provide them environment uh, learning through virtually. So that's it, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, good job, checkmate. So, as you can see here, di ba sabi ko kanina, there is a possibility that your startup may not have a, what do you call it? Compatible, all right, SGD. Okay, since SGD is a sustainable development goals that are geared towards the environment changes, as in global change, it doesn't mean na wala kayong impact. Okay, that's not true. You're still creating an impact even though it does not fall under any of the indicators provided in the SDGs. Okay. So yun nga, tama yung problem. I mean yung anong tawag dito? Dilemma ni Checkmate that they believe that they are under 4.8 because they are building and upgrading education facilities. Hanggang dun lang. But then that are child, disability, and gender sensitive and provide safe, non-violent, inclusive, and effective learning environments for all. So that those requirements, okay, makes it a different thing from what they're actually doing, your startup is actually doing. So even though na hindi ito yung saktong SGD nyo, it's okay because even if you can also pinpoint an a compatible SGD with your startup, it's okay because with this you were able to identify the impact you're making, okay? Despite hindi siya part sa SGD. So let's pinpoint what's missing sa mga answers nyo. Constraints and needs. Let's go over this. So first one, teachers are not adapting to current technology. So ang kulang dito is sinong teachers, saan teachers are not adapting to what kind of current technology are you talking about? Okay? So you have to identify that. Kasi kapag sinabi mo adapting to current technology, maraming technology is a huge thing, okay? It can be anything. Hindi lang siya PC or hindi lang siya phone. Okay, technology is anything is changing ba, okay? So it's an innovation most of the time. So you have to be specific what kind of current technology that this specific demographic of teachers are not adopting to. Again, then online teaching tools are expensive. How expensive? Where are they expensive? In the Philippines? Okay. Magkano? Why do you say it's expensive? Because they're not hindi ma-afford ng teacher or hindi ma-afford ng school, or is it is the dito yung online teaching tools are sold at a higher price than what we can afford or what we're accustomed to. You have to give facts on this data, okay? You don't have to give it, but you have to indicate kung bakit. So online teaching, what kind of online teaching tools? Or I think pwede na yan. Online teaching tools are why? How expensive and saan? Anong klaseng expensive? Are you talking in dollars or in pesos? Okay? Indicate bakit siya naging expensive. Okay? Third one, conducting and checking examination requires a lot of time. So we went through this earlier. A lot is vague. You have to tell us how much is a lot of time. You compare it, okay? Conducting and checking examination. When you say examination, you have to be specific din. Ano klaseng examination? Papers. Okay, because examination could be the process. So, conducting and checking of examination papers require 30% of the time. Or mga ganyan. Basta you have to identify again, do not say a lot of time. You have to pinpoint what is a lot of time? What specifically is a lot of time to you based on the data and facts that Checkmate has researched? Okay. So now that we've gone through the problems, let's head on to your immediate results or the inputs and activities. So you created a virtual examination tool for educators and students. Okay. I think you can add here anong levels, okay, educators and students in all levels, pwede nyo sabihin yan, but at least it could be specific because there are different kinds of students, okay? And create an online class record that shows the students' result per quiz. Okay, this is good enough. Outputs, short-term, medium-term, provide a hassle-free multiple choice exam checker for educators, all right? So, like I said, educators asa. Okay, sino yung goal nyo muna ngayon? It's like incorporating your market validation here, target market here, para hindi kayo mag-drift away from your mission, all right? I mean, not exactly type, but as the demographic of your educators, okay? And provide an electronic grading system with item analysis. Okay, provide an easy to use multiple choice. What do you mean by easy? You have, instead of saying provide an easy to use multiple choice exam generation tool, indicate provide a multiple choice exam generation tool that kayo na bala kung paano yan. You have to identify what makes it easy. Okay? Again, you have to apply the SMART, okay? The SMART framework. So your long-term goals, outcomes, increase productivity of students and educators. Again, identify the specific demographic of which students and educators you're talking about. Okay, kasi baka mamaya minimin mo niyan, the entire world. So mahirap yan, ang tagal. Okay? Maraming countries, maraming schools. Improvement of the system by giving virtual examination to students. So here, be specific on what kind of improvement you are trying to achieve. I mean, you've indicated there that you want an improvement sa system by giving virtual examinations to students, but what kind of improvement? Okay? Siguro, mas mabilis na pagbigay ng test papers or grades. Ano pa ba? Quicker, a lesser time to check papers for educators, ganyan. So you have to identify the kind of improvement. Kasi kapag sinabi nyo lang improvement, yung long-term goal nyo pa yan, tapos it's vaguely, broadly, improvement. Kahit ano na lang na improvement, tatanggapin nyo na lang. So that can't be it, okay? Because it means your goal is not definite. So you have to make sure that you identify what kind of improvement you're looking into when you use the system by giving virtual examinations to students in a certain demographic. All right. So as to the impact, we've discussed this. This is okay even though hindi siya nag-align as long as the constraints up to the outcomes, you will apply this to your pitch deck as well as to your startups. Okay, so that's it. Thank you, Checkmate. I hope that that helped you. So like I hope earlier, please send a copy, an edited copy of this one by hopefully by 2 p.m. Okay, okay. Basta ngayon pa this afternoon so I can check it, give more comments if I need to, and then also give your improved 8-word mission statement. Base it on the mission vision you gave based on the nasa mini business plan nyo. Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you, checkmates. Dirtbag, do you want to present? No, Richard? I mean, okay. I mean, it's past lunch, but if you want to present, I can still squeeze in. I'm sorry, guys, because we started late. We're ending a bit late too. So Richard, it's fine. Okay, so thank you everyone for this for attending this session. So again, I'd like to remind you to to send the impact value chain, okay? I-PowerPoint nyo lang, huwag nyo nang i-PDF because I'll be giving you comments, okay? Don't worry, I will make sure that it is the comment I'm giving you, okay? I will not edit your answers, okay? I'll just add the comments in it. And then I'll send it to you. So send it by 2 p.m. Okay, pinaka-late na siguro yung 3 p.m. because I still have to go through it today. I want it na yung session natin, we maximize the Saturday we have, okay? Because we're gonna be busy next week, especially since it's the second TBI virtual conference and all of you will be attending it, okay? So aside from the impact value chain, please include your improved, your tweaked 8-word mission statement, okay? Base it on the mission vision that you placed when you filled up the mini business plan. Okay, so that's the gist talaga, no? But truth to be told, that's just the simplified version of impact management workshop. Sinabi ko na to kanina, it's earlier na it's actually a very heavy workshop and it's very tasking. It actually takes you days, not just 8 hours a day, but you have to have assignments. You have to talk about this with other people. You actually have to partner up with social enterprises, with enablers to actually get to thoroughly understand it. But because we're doing this so that you can apply it to your pitches, especially to your startup's mission and end goal, we've simplified it na syempre that it will fit our Firestarter Incubation Program. Hindi naman kayo pumasok dito para mag-aral bigla ng international studies. No, ang kailangan lang is you understand what impact is and that you finally know that you're making an impact, okay? And then that it actually somehow coincides with the Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations. Okay, so before we officially end this with a group picture, I'd like to ask if anybody has any clarifications regarding impact management workshop and sustainable development goals. Okay, do you have any questions before we dismiss? Everyone? Okay, what's the difference between output and outcome? Okay, sandali. Output, outcome. So, okay. So here's I'll show you. Okay, full screen. Okay. Full screen share. So output and outcome. Okay. In layman's term, hindi kasi ang labo rin nitong tawag dito ng impact value chain, because they use the words outputs and outcomes, but actually what it's trying to ask from you is the different types of terms of goals you have. So the difference between an output and an outcome is, in an output, it is the immediate results, the activities that you are currently not the activities that you are currently doing, but it answers the question, what are the key deliverables and measurable effects of your work, immediate effects of your work. So ano na nangyayari when you, through the activities you do to address the problem of your startup or the goal of your startup, okay? So immediate results ang outputs. Outcome is the short-term or short-term to medium term, okay? These are that short-term or medium-term changes you expect to see. So since it is short-term or medium-term, merong span of time, you have to indicate kung in anong span ng short or medium-term yan sa inyo. So what you're, tulad nung kanina, pwedeng ang answer nyo is, okay, increase productivity of staff and residents in Cagayan de Oro within 6 months. Ganon. So outputs are your immediate results. Outcomes are the changes you expect to see short-term or mid-term. The end goal is the long-term, or otherwise the SDG. So that's why it's called long-term. Kasi, syempre, different short-term. So I hope that answered your question. Okay. So any more questions? No problem. You're welcome. Okay. Any more questions, guys, before we dismiss this session? I'm sorry, it's already lunchtime and I bet you're already hungry, but that is, the perks of, doing virtual sessions, because I'm pretty sure you're already prepping up your lunch by now or eating something. Okay. So none. Okay, so anyway, virtual lunch, ma'am, wala. Sorry. Ay, walang virtual lunch, guys. I'm so sorry. Or pwede tayo, magbukbang na lang. Yeah, yan kung gusto nyo. Let's watch each other eat. Anyway, thank you so much again for attending today's session. Okay, perfect attendance kayo lahat. Good job. I hope this padayon ni tuloy-tuloy to until sa last session natin. So I'd like to ask everyone to turn on their cameras for the group photo. Okay. Gallery view. Okay. This is for documentation purposes. Okay. So by the way, guys, I'd like to add the videos are recorded, of course, and will be uploaded to the YouTube official YouTube channel of Video Bites. However, yung mga sessions na kami yung speakers, pwede namin i-share sa inyo. Na of course, hindi nyo pwede i-share kasi yung ginamit ko dito ng mga assets are from PhilDev and ESIP, so I don't have any authorization to pamigay yan sa inyo. But I can share it with you. As for the rest of the sessions, we will still record it. Pero kung we still have to get the consent from the speaker if we can share it with you. Okay? So don't worry about that. So that's why we're emphasizing that you attend the sessions, because real time beats the recorded session. All right, is everyone in? Okay. Okay. Sige. Okay, Gage, on your mark. Okay.
How about ang uban?
Yeah, can you please turn on your videos? Okay. Okay. Okay, so again, reminder of your assignments. Remember that this is a milestone for Firestarter, your first one. So make sure to submit it, okay, within the day. So I can, not within the day, guys, within the working time, okay, of the Saturday. So 3 o'clock ang pinaka-late, okay? 2 o'clock at least, I will check my email, CDO b.i.t.e.s email for your assignments. Thank you very much again, everyone, and enjoy the rest of the week after weekend pala, after you've done your assignment. Yes, you can consult us later. Okay, you can just tell us what time. Okay, because I'll be heading home for lunch after this. Okay, thank you very much, everyone. Good day and keep safe. Labanan na yung local transmission. Okay. Bye-bye. Ingat.